Welcome back to Crazy Good Aging. Today's episode is called the Golden Splurge because a lot of retirees are spending their money a little differently than they used to, and they have good reasons. It's actually got a name called S.K.I, and that stands for Spending the Kids' Inheritance. I'm Dorothy Shore.
And I'm Valerie Freeman, and for the next few minutes we're going to be talking to some wealth experts who are going to tell us about how to grow so we can travel and we can recharge our wealth and our spirit.
So today's guests are from Charles Schwab, and we have Annette Anderson, who is a senior VP, a senior wealth consultant, correct? Correct. And Melissa Wilbeck, who is also a vice president and branch manager and private wealth services. Welcome, ladies. Glad to have you.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
Yeah, so we really want to know, okay, how can we do this? How can we spend it and not run out of any money, right? So how do we do that? So, Annette, I'm going to start with you. So how does Schwab balance it so that we can spend and also not run out of money?
Dorothy, that's a great question. So when we talk to clients, we really talk to them about being intentional with their spending and creating a plan that allows for you to do all the wonderful things that you like to do, like travel and have great experiences, but it really just begins with intentionality. That's where we start.
Okay.
Well, I didn't have a plan forever. And so I was just spending and hoping I didn't run out of money. So I'm a little more intentional about it now. So Melissa, walk us through the Schwab framework for retirees and how that you all look at how they can spend money and still do big travel plans and fun things that they want to do.
Well, Valerie, you're not alone. Most people don't have a plan walking into retirement, and many people do just end up spending what they're comfortable with and keeping up with their lifestyle. So for us at Schwab, we really emphasize on taking a bucket approach. So there's 3 different buckets when it comes to retirement planning. Bucket number 1 is, think of it your short-term money. Everyone's comfortable going to the bank and spending money that way. That's your short-term money. That's under 5 years. That's the money that you'll pay expenses with and go on vacation. Then the next bucket is at 5 to 7 years. That's going to be more in a balanced portfolio because the second bucket's really going to be replenishing the first bucket. And then your third bucket is your long-term portfolio. That's going to help you fight inflation and other market downturns. That's going to be a longer time horizon. And eventually that will be going to your second bucket. So you have a longer time horizon. We just worked with a client who, similar in your case, she's a recent widow, and she was just spending, not hoping, as she always had, like spent. And we talked to her about the bucket approach and for her, she had enough money to be able to spend that the way that she wanted, but we were able to help her to create those memorable experiences with her family. Her big thing was she wanted to take her family on a Mediterranean cruise and have different experiences with the grandkids, and she was able to walk away with a comfort that she could go ahead and do that. So.
All right. Well, to be transparent, I don't have any children, so I'm not spending anyone's inheritance except my own. So, but it's good to know that you can have a plan and really make it work and feel a little bit better about how you're spending your money and how it's going to grow as you get older. Because it's just me and Jay, and we're going to have to figure out how to take care of ourselves as we get older.
So Melissa, what does that look like percentage-wise for those buckets that you're talking about?
So it really depends on each client. For some clients, let's just throw out a hypothetical. $1 million they have in a portfolio. Depends on their situation. Are they pulling security? Maybe they're going to keep more in that long-term bucket. Maybe that case they're going to keep 50% in that long-term bucket. In the short-term bucket, they'll only keep 25%, and in the midterm bucket, they'll keep 25%. But this is getting into, we really got to customize and build out a plan for their unique situation if we're going to look at the buckets for their particular situation.
Good. So it really does just
Very dependent.
varies a lot. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Good.
Well, for the longest time, I've heard about the 4% rule. And that's a thing that never varied, it seemed like. But what's happening today? Is the 4% rule still valid, or?
I think that's an excellent question, and yes, it's absolutely valid. We really encourage clients to do some planning with our financial planners to really understand what that looks like long term, because as Melissa stated, some clients have more available cash. They may not be saving for anything in particular or trying to put money back, and in those instances, you may be able to take more out, but 4% is a very good rule to maintain wealth and to keep it growing.
Really?
Yes.
Okay. It never went up or down or just stayed at 4?
I think 4 is a really safe number because I think as planners run these analyses, they find that 4% kind of is the magic number.
Oh, okay. The magic number. I've got it.
But again, it varies with each client.
Yeah, it's definitely a guideline because what we're trying to look at is normal market returns. Again, on a standard portfolio, you're looking between 7 and 10% on average. So you don't want to draw down on your complete portfolio. So we tell people 4% because you're still able to grow the portfolio if it is averaging 7 to 9%.
Yeah. So it's still a good number.
Yes.
Regardless of the market. That's good to know.
Yes.
I wasn't sure.
And sometimes the market is going to perform 13%, but sometimes it's going to be negative. That's right. And so those aren't good years. Those aren't good years.
Yeah. So let's say I literally am going to spend my kids' inheritance, which in my case I probably am, because I've already left them plenty. You know, my daughter and grandkids, I've left them all I have, work, I have my business, etc. So, but what does that literally look like if I actually spent my kids' inheritance?
That's a really great question. What that looks like is I feel like, again, being intentional about the things that are important to you and your husband or your partner. And from there, just knowing that these are the things that we want to do. For example, if it includes, I want to go to Italy every year or something like that, what does that look like? Is that $10,000 or $15,000 each trip? And it just means, in my mind, and from our standpoint, is planning for that. And so when you plan for that, you just enjoy your life, or you give charitably, or you do multiple things of that nature, especially if you've already taken care of children and grandchildren.
Let me throw out some high-profile cases. So we have Alice Walton. She's been in the news lately because she literally started her own medical school. It's a nonprofit right now, and she's paying for everyone to go and become an MD. That can look like that. Let's look at Mackenzie Scott. She's giving away all of her billions of dollars. This is a very unique time that we're in, where women are now inheriting, in these particular cases, were divorced, and they're able to give away and leave a legacy and see their impact today. So, like Annette said, it really depends on what women want to do and how they want to spend their money and live their legacy.
So we've heard a lot about this big wealth transfer that is currently taking place.
$164 trillion.
I know. That's amazing. So how is that going to tell us about that survey, first off?
Well, I think one of the main things with this wealth transfer is this next generation. And they are very different from our clients. I mean, a lot of next gen, they have different values, and I think it's imperative for the matriarchs and patriarchs of the family to really articulate what their goals are, so that as you stated, they can be impactful by leaving legacy. But I also think there's a big education piece that needs to happen with the next generation, because some of these kids are not taught how to invest, how to save, how to do anything. That's not even in our education system. So there is a lot of education that we find that we're having to do with Next Gen and this transfer. I'll give you an example. I was talking to a colleague. They are working with a client. She inherited all this money. The uncle was managing it for them, and now she's like, I just want the cash. And what this next generation doesn't understand, that if you have a portfolio that has a very low cost basis, and this is 25 or 30 years later, and let's just use Apple. Maybe Apple was bought at, I don't know, $100. Now it's $300. There are implications for selling securities in that manner that they don't understand. Yeah. Capital gains, things of that nature. Yeah. So that is the piece that we as advisors have to advise our clients on and make them aware. And then ultimately you choose to do what makes you feel good and what you can live with.
Right, right.
Well, I've realized that there's a lot more to estate planning than just investing your money. I mean, there's so many different pieces to it that I never even thought about. So what do you suggest? Here I am, let's say I'm a person who's never talked to a wealth planner before. What should I be asking? What should I
want to
do?
jump in on this one. So 80% of men will die married. 80% of women will die widowed. The average age of widowhood in America is 59.5. I'm in the industry, and that number took me by surprise.
Okay, would you explain that just
Yes.
a little bit? You're saying that
So
they're going to be a widow
By
for...
59.
I thought that's what you're saying. Well,
Really?
I
Yes.
thought maybe it was 59.5 married years. Otherwise, I'm in big trouble.
Yeah. So women especially need to be aware of what their trust documents are, what the medical power of attorney is, because you won't have a spouse telling what your medical directive are when you're incapacitated. So being able to have those conversations open and honestly with your children of what you want. My mom's a great example. She already told me she's a DNR. Do not resuscitate. Just she wants to go. And you have to have those open and honest conversations. You need to know, you need to tell your heirs where you want to be buried, how you want that to look like. And it's not just a conversation that us as women are going to have with our spouses, our children, or people who will be taking care of our affairs after we're gone. We need to have that conversation. So yes, estate planning, of course, have your trust, your will in place. Look at your retirement accounts. Make sure that you have the right beneficiaries on place. But it is bigger conversation than this, and one that you don't want to wait for, because you don't want to put those people that are taking care of your affairs in a weird position when you're not there to make those decisions.
Yeah.
And I will piggyback off of that. I agree with you completely. The other thing is having, like Melissa said, having those conversations with your children or the people who will be taking care of you is so important, because if they don't understand what your wishes are, it becomes a very difficult situation. And sometimes, I know we see in our business consistently, is that mental faculties when people are older can deteriorate very, very quickly, and then you're trying to add children or relatives so that people can access your dollars if something were to happen. It's critical.
I think that's really important. One final question. What are the biggest mistakes you see that retirees make?
Not planning for the healthcare costs that they may incur if they do end up living quite a while. Long-term care is extremely expensive. That's a huge expense at the end of that plan that people don't always take. We don't want to think that way. We want to talk about travel and fun things, but healthcare is a huge, huge cost in the plan that people aren't taking into consideration. So they'll start spending too soon and not prepare for the end.
And I could add to that because fortunately my late husband, we had a long-term care plan for him, but if we hadn't, it would have been
Detrimental.
Pretty astronomical number. So, and that was just really 10 months. I can't imagine people who have years. So everybody needs to
They really
take
do.
heed to that.
They do.
And either get a long-term care policy, and and you need to do that early on because I know the rate
It's very
gets
expensive.
outrageous to go in when you're already old. So, but that is a good one. That's a very good one. Great. Well, thank you, ladies. Do you have anything else to add for our listeners or viewers?
I would just say that planning is not as daunting as it seems to be. And I think if you just work with someone who you trust and who will listen to you, it really is a wonderful process to really begin to see what it looks like on paper and black and white numbers. No. Our group has done a great job, I think, on getting some really wonderful females that have been seasoned and have been in the business.
Okay, well, thank you all. And hey, if you're listening or watching out there and you haven't already got a plan, get a plan. Especially if you'd like to spend a lot of that money, you need a plan. Thank you all. And up next, we are going to go spend some money on our health at Canyon Ranch. Today, we have Canyon Ranch. Our guest is Jennifer Wagner. She's the Chief Health and Performance Officer at Canyon Ranch. Jennifer, thanks for joining us on Golden Splurge.
Hi. Hi, everyone.
So, Jennifer, luxury travel satisfies the wanderlust, and Canyon Ranch satisfies the wellness lust. What draws ski retirees to your resorts?
I think a lot of our guests are just looking for something different than the standard vacation. So really looking to elevate their wellness, which is a really popular word right now, but we've been doing this for over 40 years and can just provide a very different and personalized and curated experience compared to what you get at a lot of other destinations.
What packages are the most popular?
So we recently launched one of our signature packages called Longevity 8, which is really a deep dive into this whole science and need to want to live longer, expanding our health span to kind of more match our lifespan. And so that's been a really popular offering. Guests are on property for 5 days. They go through a series of assessments. They meet with a lot of our providers, do group activities, individual activities, and just leave with this blueprint that's completely customized to them on how to expand their health span and enjoy the process. So the Longevity 8 program I was just describing, guests have a battery of assessments when they arrive on property, including lab work, DEXA scans. We look at aerobic fitness levels. They also get time for massage and facials and relaxation. They spend time with our spiritual providers, our mental health providers. And when they leave with this blueprint, it includes follow-up at a different cadence for each individual. So they check in virtually with our providers, and then we invite everyone to come back at their year anniversary to do a deep dive in-person check-in again. And it's crafted over 5 days, and we bring in small cohorts. And so there's very much a community feel to it, which we know is a key part to longevity, is having this sense of community and connection with others. And the group eats together. They undergo group activities together, like spiritual walks and guided meditations. We do a lot of education around nutrition, exercise, purpose and meaning. And then each guest meets with our physician team and our performance science team, as well as our other subject matter experts on campus. And they do a battery of biomarkers, blood work. We do EKGs. We do DEXA scans looking at bone density and body composition. They undergo a musculoskeletal exam to make sure movement is maximized and mobility. And all of that is comprehensively packaged for each individual. So they leave with a really custom plan that's kind of meeting them where they are, but working towards their very personal goals. So they feel it's probably the most complete service package I've seen anywhere. Canyon Ranch is super uniquely positioned in the fact that we not only have the experts that talk about these things, you can experience all of these services during your stay. For a couple of longevity, 2 of the programs per year that are focused more on women, because we know that there are different needs in midlife and beyond for men versus women. And then the other 6 programs are for both men and women. We're starting to see younger and younger guests join us, which is really exciting. So I think, we used to serve a demographic probably mid 50s to mid 60s, and now we're seeing that shift a little bit into a younger demographic, and we see a lot of multi-generational families come, so bringing more and more young people who are really looking at wellness as a lifestyle, and are very interested in exploring these areas much earlier than it ever came across my radar, for sure. Our two main properties are in Tucson and Lenox currently, with Austin coming online in September of 26. And so that, again, will be a full service property with amazing lodging, food, beverage, and then all of the human performance services and spa services that our other facilities have as well. And then we have a smaller property in Woodside, California. And then we have a day spa in Vegas and a day club in Fort Worth. I think it's amazing and it's really exciting. And it's exciting to see people wanting to invest in their health and their wellness at any age. And because we know it's never too early and it's never too late to start living a very healthy lifestyle that can really keep us doing what we want to do and enjoying life much longer. Our goal is really to help avoid or limit that marginal decade that so many people experience at the end of life. And, we want to live our lives fully the way we want to for as long as we can. And that's really what we're dedicated to trying to help our guests do. Each of our locations has something really special and unique about them. Tucson is our home base for longevity. Lenox, we get to explore the arts, and we do a lot of women's health. And Austin's going to come on board as our women's wellness collective and really our home to kind of really cutting edge technology. So they each provide a really unique experience. The dream place for me for wellness is anywhere where we have combined nature with healing and movement and our spiritual and mental health. And so for me, that's the desert. I love being in the desert. I love the healing powers of the desert. And I think when we can combine those elements, it just makes for a fantastic and very impactful experience. I think spa brings a lot of people to Canyon Ranch. And I think then when they arrive and they see the differentiation of how much deeper we can go because of the experts that are at each of our resorts, that we can really give this personalized health and wellness connection. People really enjoy spending time with our physicians. It's a very one-on-one, we meet you where you are and spend a lot of time answering questions and going deep and thinking outside the box of problems people have had for years that they just haven't had the time to sit down and really talk through. And I think the really amazing piece is our physicians can go next door and talk to our nutritionists, which can go next door and talk to our spiritual providers. And they really look at people as a whole. It's not a note sent electronically like we see in other health systems. And guests get to enjoy that by being in a beautiful place and a beautiful property, eating wonderful food, and really connecting with other people and connecting with nature. So it's just an incredible experience all around. I think experience something that sounds new and exciting and might be a little bit out of your comfort zone. I think sometimes guests get a little fearful of an assessment, and I think it is really just to open a new door into expanding your health span. Our providers are amazing at making it a really comfortable and fun experience. And so I would say that, we have such an amazing menu of service offerings to try something that you wouldn't normally try.
Thank you so much for joining us today.
Have you ever dreamed of ordering coffee in Paris, chatting with locals in Tokyo, or simply unlocking a new part of your brain? Learning a new language isn't just a skill. It's a gateway to personal growth, and Rosetta Stone makes it feel effortless. Don't wait. Unlock your language learning potential now. Crazy Good Aging listeners can grab Rosetta Stone's lifetime membership for over 50% off. Normally $3.99, now $1.79 for Prime listeners. That's unlimited access to 25 language courses for life. Click the link below to access this special offer.
Today we're visiting with Crystal Cruises, who will explain why luxury travel is leading the charge for ski events. Welcome, Jackie.
Thank you.
So with Spending Kids Inheritance, S.K.I., which is a movement evidently that's sweeping the country, older people are retired and they're spending that money. They're going on cruises. They're having a great time instead of waiting and saving all that money and giving it to their kids. Now, I can tell you my parents were savers. My dad was in World War II, and he was in the Philippines. And when he came home, he started working for a company, a big company, and he worked there for 40 years. And he retired from there. And then he just didn't want to do anything. He had a big garden, he wanted to garden, and he wanted to save money to give the inheritance to me and my brother and sister. And I think back on that now and I think, why didn't my dad and my mom travel? Why didn't they do some great experiences? But they didn't. They wanted to save that money and give it to the three of us, which we certainly appreciated. But now things have changed, and now we're going to do those things that we want to do, and our kids are just going to have to learn to make their own money. So, Jackie, tell us about all the experiences that Crystal Cruises has in mind for those of us that want to spend our money.
Oh, well, that is an exciting question because we at Crystal Cruises, we just turned 35, first of all. So this brand has been around for 35 exceptional years, and Crystal has gone through quite a transformation in the last few years. We were bought by Abercrombie and Kent Travel Group, which actually does answer this question very nicely. Now at Crystal, with our sister company, Abercrombie and Kent, we're not only able to offer the most luxurious and exceptional experiences on board our ships, but also on land. So we have 2 ocean ships right now, and some new ones coming in the future. And we have a beautiful culinary story, beautiful experiences on board, from entertainment to a delightful spa that has just top of the art technology. We have wonderful golf driving ranges and pickleball courts, and Crystal truly is the destination for your skiers.
So what kind of increase have you seen in luxury travel over the years?
Well, COVID certainly did have an impact on this luxury travel segment of the world. Really what we're seeing is with COVID, more and more people started to value having more space, having more meaningful experiences, really trying to live their best life now. So we have seen a tremendous uptick in actually not only cruisers and individual cruise segments, but also our world cruises. Our world cruises have gone up significantly, and we're now booking into 2028. So people are planning ahead and getting excited about long voyages where they could spend time on the ship and really just live out their dreams and their bucket lists.
Well, I know that there have been times when people, there have been stories in the paper about people getting ill on the ships, not just COVID, but other kinds of illnesses. But I haven't heard or seen any of that lately. So everyone must have figured out how to prevent all those things from happening. Is that correct?
Well, I can't speak to the other companies and the other cruise lines, but I can say that safety is our number one priority. And we do have a 24 hours, a 24/7 medical facility on every ship, with a doctor, full-time nurse, full-time doctor, any of the necessary tools to get somebody well if they do get sick, and access through our network of just connections through Abercrombie and Kent all over the world to action any type of emergency, any type of safety operation. So a guest can come on board Crystal and truly, when they do feel safe. They do feel taken care of. Not to mention, you have butlers also 24/7 at your beck and call to just take care of all of your requests. So,
What kind of bespoke experiences are retirees asking for these days?
well, actually, this ties perfectly to to what I started off with. Through A&K, we've really developed these incredible experiences that now our guests are really trying to, really use and have been requesting over and over. So I'll give you an example. We've created beautiful overland journeys. So if the ship calls in Lima, we do have a multi-day A&K experience where we could take our guests to Machu Picchu and take them deeper into the culture. Or when we are in Africa, when we go to Mombasa, when we go to some of those eastern parts of Africa, we'll have overland experiences where we can take a guest and charter them into the countries to do safaris and incredible experiences. So we have access to go deeper and off the beaten path in many of the places we visit. So we're getting a lot of those requests. People are really trying to live out their best lives and just create incredible memories when they're sailing with us.
Well, when you do those experiences on land, it seems like it would take a lot of time. And I know that in the past, when we've been on cruises, you get off the ship and then you have to be back by a certain time. So how does that work? And is there flexibility on some of these longer cruises where you can get off and get back on?
Absolutely. And that's exactly what I'm saying. So if we call in Lima, we'll be in Lima for a few days, a couple days even, and a guest could have the opportunity to jump off in Lima, go to Machu Picchu, spend 2 to 3 nights, in the Sacred Valley and do all those wonderful things. And then they could jump back on at a different port of call. And we take care of all the logistics. So it's truly seamless for the guest. We do try to do as many overnights as possible so guests can experience a destination's true magic, both day and night, and go deeper into destination.
And how big are your ships? Are they different sizes, or what does that look like?
Our 2 ocean ships, the largest is 740 guests. That is Crystal Serenity. Crystal Symphony is 606 guests. And the ships were actually built for 1,000 plus. And in 2022-23, we invested a lot of money into actually reducing capacity, making bigger suites, bigger guest rooms, more intimate public spaces. So you truly do feel like you are on a very private cruise when you sail with Crystal.
Yeah, I like to hear that, because I remember being on a cruise where the bathroom was so small that, and I'm a small person and so is my husband, and neither one of us could fit in that bathroom together. And so then we did take a cruise where we had a bigger space, and I felt like that was a lot better experience. So I'm glad to see that things are getting a little bit bigger and more luxurious.
And do you now offer butler service in all the rooms or just the suites?
That is correct. Every single room, guest room, and suite on our ships does get a dedicated butler.
That's terrific. Oh, I like that. I know. Me too. Me too. So if you could pick one of your experiences, which one would you pick?
One of our experiences, I'd have to get a little greedy and say my ultimate bucket list at this point, having worked for this brand, this beautiful brand, is I want to do a world cruise. It is just such a unique opportunity, and we're seeing so many more people take world cruises because you really don't have to worry about packing and unpacking when you go to so many destinations. You could wake up in Tokyo one day and dine in the south of France another day, or watch the sunset over the Chilean fjords. With our Crystal World Cruises, you experience the globe in all its splendor. And especially wrapped in our exceptional comfort and service.
Well, it sounds fabulous. How many days would that be?
You can take one of our world cruises anywhere from 120 plus days to 150 days. And many of our guests often choose to extend that and add cruises post that time or before that time, because they truly feel like Crystal in its own, the ships are a destination and they love being on there.
Well, they could almost live there.
What is the top onboard indulgence that you offer?
The top, we have so many from our, we're the only cruise line in the world to offer Nobu restaurants on board with fresh sushi made right in front of you by Nobu, a corporate chef. So we have a restaurant on each ship called Umiuma, which is our Nobu restaurant named by Chef Nobu himself. Umiuma, fun fact, means seahorse in Japanese. You could have that, or take it a step up. You can reserve our vintage room, which is our private dining room for 12 of your friends, and order, have Umiuma brought in or our Michelin Italian restaurant brought in, then paired with the most exceptional wines in the world, rare vintages that are just beautiful award-winning cellar wines that you would never dream of having just on a normal day at home. So the ultimate dining experience, or the ultimate Medi Spa experience, and just I'm getting excited just talking about these things.
I know, you make me want to sign up like right now. I want to leave today.
Yes, actually, we celebrated, and Valerie was with me, a very big birthday of mine on a Crystal cruise. And you all did a very special dinner in our suite. So we kind of went all out on that big birthday. And it was pretty exceptional. It really was. So, yes, we loved those experiences. So is there anything else you'd like for our listening audience to know about Crystal? Do you have any kind of special offer for them?
Well, we actually do have a few special offers right now. Can go on the website and find a few that are expiring at the end of this month. So I'd go on and take advantage of our sensational savings, which are upgrades and discounts. But most of all, I think what I want to say to your viewers and to the skiers of today is do it now. Travel the world now. Go live your best life. Make memories. Feed your soul. Leave behind your stories, and we would be thrilled if you experience that aboard Crystal under the Abercrombie & Kent Travel Group family, where we can offer you the most mind-blowing and luxurious experiences where you feel at home.
Well, I agree. Thank you so much, Jackie, for joining us. We really loved having you, and we hope to be on one of your cruises again very soon.
Well, I'd love to do that world one. That would be awesome.
I know. That would be really cool.
Dorothy, Valerie, I hope to see you on board too.
For our Golden Splurge episodes, next week we hope to have some more for you. We'll be diving into private jet life with NetJets. Ever wonder what it really costs to fly private?
And later this season, we're going to have some art auction tours at Christie's, some safari lodge takeovers in Kenya, and some bespoke yacht charters in the South Pacific.
Subscribe, review, and share your dream ski splurge with us on social.
Thanks for listening. Live well, spend boldly, and join us next time on Golden Splurge.